All right, y'all. Let me. I'm changing the. Oh, man, this lighting. You know, you try your best to. Oh, I don't really know what that means. Is it really gonna? Oh, there we go. All right, good enough. So I just got done talking about safety with ride sharing, and I just had a thought come to mind. You know, alongside with the whole people may not start ride sharing because they're scared of, you know, what could happen, like the worst. And, you know, I'm just going to give you what I got in regards to if you just notice, and I'm really big on that gut feeling. If you notice that someone's about to get in your car, or a group of people about to get in your car, don't do anything scandalous like you see them from a distance walking out of the house or from wherever you're picking them up from. Don't do something scandalous and just dart off. You ain't got to do that, you know, because honestly, you're probably just going to get a bad rating because as much as you want to follow your gut, if somebody like isn't like running towards you with something like crazy in their hand or like, I don't know, I'm just saying, like, don't be so paranoid. I would say best case scenario in that situation would just be like, look guys, I am sorry, but I'm just feeling uncomfortable taking you to your destination. It's nothing with you, as you know, something came up, I gotta go. Come up with like an escape plan. Just, yeah, that would probably be your best route, to just be like, you know what, I'm so sorry, I know I just got here, but like an emergency just came up, my mom called me, my spouse just called me, I gotta go, I'm sorry. You don't even have to tell them like, look, I gotta leave, I gotta go because it's something about you I don't like. You know, you ain't gotta do that. Now I'll tell you about when, so I've only had to tell, out of the 2,000 rides I've had in this past year, I've only had to tell maybe about 3 people, no, I'm not going to take you. And more than likely, well, actually, I can't even say more than likely, because I know for sure I didn't take them because they had a bad attitude. It is my car. It is my business. And I don't have to take anybody anywhere all because an algorithm just pinged me to you. If you're going to not be appreciative of me taking the time out of my day, no matter if I'm getting paid for it or not, to come pick you up, and you're going to talk to me like I'm not, you know, anything but a driver. I mean, like, I'm a person, I'm a hardworking woman, you know? So let me tell you about those instances. Kind of gonna work backwards, because the last one you don't have to do it often. Last one I did was a lady I was gonna pick up. I just gotten to her destination, and she kind of had like big old bug eyes, and I only bring that up because I think this is why she reacted the way she did. She had like big old bug eyes, and she was dressed fine. She just kind of seemed like she'd been through some shit. And I don't let people sit in my front seat, not unless it's necessary. So it just makes me feel more comfortable. So I'd set my purse in my front seat, or a book, or you know, something that signified, hey, just sit in my back seat. I'm a taxi driver. I'm just labeled by Uber or Lyft, like, just sit in my back seat. Well, she tries going for my front seat, and I say, oh, I'm sorry, I usually have people sit in my back seat. And that's typically all I would have to say to somebody. That's all I would have to say, and then they'd be like, oh, I understand, no worries. It's not a big deal, because they just want to get from point A to point B. It is not a big deal. But this lady, I think she got offended because she thought that I told her that because I felt like she looked crazy. And that's why I bring up the bug eye deal. And, you know, I could just be assuming. But she popped off at me. She said some stuff under her breath. And I said, what? Because I don't really play that. I don't really. Are you going to have an attitude with me whenever I'm still going to take you. I just have a preference. Like, this is just my policy. You don't walk into like Walmart talking about something. I'm gonna walk into your store and just push all the clothes off the shelves because I want to, and this is a public place. No, this is my car. My policy is I have people sit in the back seat unless it's more than a group of 3 or 2. What'd you say? And she said something again. She was like, oh, no, it's okay. It's fine. But as a woman, and what? Like, because she just started popping off. It wasn't like she was yelling at me. She was speaking under her breath, and she was saying something with conviction in her voice. But I was like, what are you saying? All I know is you're talking shit. And I told her, you know what, ma'am, I'm sorry, but it seems like you need a different driver. And, she said, I understand, it's your car, I understand. And she got out, especially after she said some more smack. But in that situation, once I made up my mind and I said, sounds like you need a different driver, I just kind of looked at her until she got out of my car, and I'm not staring her down. I'm not like, get the fuck out of my car. I just look at her like, it looks like you need a different driver. And if she had fought me on that, all you do is turn off your car, grab your belongings, stand outside, have your phone, wait until they get out. And if they still don't get out, call the police. That's all. That's your procedure. That's the best baseline I can give you. I haven't had to take it as far as calling the police yet, but I already knew my next steps. Because it's my car. If I don't want to take you somewhere because I feel uncomfortable with you, you can't come into my house and tell me how you think I should run my house. You don't pay the bill. I'm doing this for you. It's not so much for me. It's really, you need the ride. There's plenty of other opportunities out there for me. So she got out of my car. That was that. Now a different time was, let's see, what was it? Oh, okay. So the time before that was a lady who, she wanted to do a round trip, but she didn't know how to put it in the app, which Uber and Lyft, if anybody from there is watching this, can you make some kind of like tutorial that like teaches passengers how to use the app and what's acceptable and what's appropriate? Because as a driver, one of my pet peeves was having somebody on the way somewhere ask if we can stop somewhere extra. It takes away from my time and it's not safe. I don't want to do it. But out of courtesy, if I felt comfortable enough, I would do it. It's just I know compensation isn't always calculated. Now, back to the point. Lady wanted to have a round trip, and it was literally like a 3-minute. Like 3 minutes to the store, 3 minutes back. I don't know how long she's going to take in the store. And with Uber and Lyft, they have a really cool feature where while you're on a ride, you can accept another ride. Lyft doesn't give you the option to say yes or no to accepting that trip continuously unless you just absolutely sign off like after your last ride that you had, which is really bogus. But Uber gives you the choice of, do you want this ride or not? And you can also, with Uber, if you dig a little bit deeper in the app, you can just say, no, I don't want to have more opportunities to come up during my current ride, because that still does affect your acceptance rate. And you want to keep your acceptance rate up with your apps, because that way the algorithm will find you more reliable. And also, that way you can see how long your trips are before you decide to take them, currently, at least in my area. So, this lady asks or says, hey, I want to go to the store and back. And I say, okay, can you enter that into the app? I only ask for safety purposes. And I had already had a long day, but I don't care if I'm taking you a minute away and back. That's still my time. And I don't know how long you're going to take in there. And I don't want my acceptance rates to go down because you're taking so long and you didn't enter it into the app. Like, it's my business, my policy. Well, she gets upset because she doesn't know how to do it, and I was trying to show her how to do it, and it wasn't working for me. So I was like, huh. And she just got frustrated, and I was like, it sounds like you need a different driver. I'm sorry, I'm not going to take you. And she was like, yeah, I would hate to have a passenger that didn't work with me, and I would hate to have a driver that didn't work with me. It seems like you're losing it anyway. I just looked at her as she was talking smack. That's all that was. Till she closed my door. She took her sweet time getting out because she had nothing else to do for that day. She closed my door and I drove off. So another lesson with ride sharing and anything customer service is don't let that kind of stuff get under your skin. Stand by your policy. Be headstrong. There's nothing wrong with saying no. And if that lady, she didn't, because I know as a driver, whenever people give you a bad review, because if you have that bad of an experience with a passenger and then all of a sudden your rating goes down by like a decimal, it was that one passenger that called in and reported you and got your review down. You already know. So I know for sure she didn't call and report me and say anything was wrong, because there wasn't. I said, if you want a round trip, you need to enter it in correctly. And if you can't figure it out, I'm not going to take you. That's how you should handle that. Now, if she were nicer to me, I probably would have, But because she got an attitude, I didn't take her, and it made me feel uncomfortable. I just didn't want to take her. I don't want to take somebody who just thinks they can gripe and get what they want. I don't care how old you are. It's not how you're supposed to do that. So that's incident number 2. And then, third one was kind of the big one. This is the first time I've ever had to tell somebody they needed to get a different driver. It was a rainy day, and it had just lightened up. I think these passengers were already upset before I'd gotten there, because whenever I go back and I kind of relive the story, I'm like, I don't think I did anything. I'm just that type of person. I just kind of like, was it me? Did I do something wrong? And this one's debatable. Like I said before, I don't let anybody sit in my front seat. I treat everybody the same. Key phrase is I treat everybody the same. This is touchy. I went to go pick up a passenger, who apparently was disabled. So to disclaim a little bit of this story, I remember growing up, my mom worked with disabled people, and so I'm not naive. I'm not, just disregarding this guy, but I had a really good friend whose brother was really hard of hearing, and I know somebody who's really disabled and somebody who's not as disabled as what their family may treat them. I know it's a touchy subject, but you know what? My opinion. I didn't mean any harm in this, but the passenger had his profile, and I came to pick him up, and he tried sitting in my front seat, and this is a disabled. He's disabled. He's just walking a little funny, and his speech is a little slurred. He's not drunk. He's just disabled. But I'm familiar with that sort of behavior. So I knew, I didn't find anything wrong by it. I just said, hey, I usually have people sit in my back seat. I didn't say it in a bad way. Well, his brother was staring at me the whole time, mad. He was upset. And come to find out later in the whole debauchery, he was mad, firstly, because I didn't pull into the driveway when it was raining. And then I said for his brother to sit in the back seat. And then he was upset that I'm assuming that I was taking a while to leave, because my service wasn't working. Of course. The GPS just wasn't catching up to itself quick enough. But also I was eyeing his brother back in the face because he was staring at me like I was fucking the worst thing on the planet Earth. And I'm sitting here like, look, man. So to go back a little bit, his brother tries to sit, the disabled passenger. He tries sitting in my front seat. Tell him I usually have people sit in the back. And he was like, oh, okay, no problem. Said it clear as day like that. Like, that, if that says anything, he goes and he sits in my back seat and he already got his seatbelt on and everything. Well, my window's down. And as the disabled passenger was sitting in the back seat, his brother storms up to my car, opens up my driver's side door, and tries moving the passenger seat up more. It's already moved up. So he just looked like a jackass moving anything. And then he slammed my door, opened up the back passenger door, and tried helping his brother buckle in. His brother was already buckled. And then he looks at me and he says, you need to be more considerate of your passengers. And I said, sir, I treat everybody the same. And he was like, well, he's disabled, so you need to be more acceptable or considerate. And I just kind of looked at him like, but we were fine. Like, even before he walked over, like, the passenger that I was supposed to be taken to his apartment and I were fine. He just came over and was being mean because I think he thought I was being discriminative. And, you know, take sides as you will. Everything was fine. I treat everybody the same. Like, if you're not in a group and say you had a medical condition, you needed to sit in the front seat, or if you absolutely just felt that much more comfortable in the front seat, and that even kind of pushes it with me because of other situations I've been in. But I mean, like, it wasn't like my front seat was lava. It was just, you know, my policy. And, you know, being a boss, you don't budge. You don't budge all because somebody bats their eyes and asks for you to do it. Well, like I said, my GPS wasn't catching up, and his brother had walked off, and then he's just staring at me through the window, and I'm talking to the passenger that was disabled. And I kind of go back and I think about that, and I'm like, man, if he was that disabled, like, he really shouldn't have even been in my front seat. He shouldn't have been in my car if he was that disabled, you know, because there are conditions whenever you're that disabled and you don't know if they're going to grab the front seat or something. Like, it's, you know, and I don't live that life every day. I understand, like, being protective of your family and stuff and not wanting people to run over, you know, the people that you love and everything. But I don't know if y'all can tell, but I'm not really that much of a killer. I mean, I'm not really that much of someone to go out of my way to discriminate. I don't really care for that. I was kind of looking forward to having a really good conversation with the guy. But didn't end up happening because my GPS wasn't catching up, and I was a little irritated. I have to admit, I'm staring right back at his brother because he's staring at me like I'm just hell on wheels. And he comes over and he says, is there a problem? And I was like, my GPS isn't catching up. Also, what you did earlier was very aggressive, and that made me feel uncomfortable. I did not like that. And he said, well, you need to be more considerate. And I was like, sir, I treat everybody the same. So that was the extent of the argument. And he said something else that wasn't nice. And I said, well, it sounds like he needs to get a different passenger. And even his brother was like, oh, because he was like, it's okay. That's just my brother. That's just how he is. That's what the disabled passenger had said before his brother walked back over. And I was like, yeah, it sounds like he needs to get a different driver. And he was like, seriously? And then he was like, And then, well, they get out of the car. He takes a picture of my license plate, and I'm just staring at it, and I'm just shaking my head. I'm just like, you know that was wrong. Like, that's just all I'm thinking, because this is the first time I've ever had to kick anybody out of my car. And he says, go fuck yourself. It's the first time I've ever said that, or told that by anybody. And I said, you too. And then he said, you can go. And I was like, you too. So he was really close to his garage. So, There's a little instigation, really, like, if I could go back and if I were to change anything, I'm glad I stood up for myself, you know. I still wouldn't let him sit in my front seat because I treat everybody the same, and he was fine. If he really needed to sit in the front seat and somebody expressed that to me nicely, I would have gladly have let him sit in the front seat and made it the most freaking comfortable experience that he would have ever had getting to his destination. But because common denominator with each of those instances with me, each passenger was just rude in some kind of way. And I just won't stand for that in my car. You know, like I said, there's always another opportunity coming your way. And I will always say, like, you know what? I've had 2,000 rides. Those are just 3. Count on my hand, you know? And then if you guys haven't seen the other video I posted about safety where I felt like I was going to get robbed, that's 4. Out of the 2,000 rides I've had, and all because I've had about 2,000 rides doesn't mean that I've only had 2,000 people. That means I've had maybe more. I've had more. So I'm just letting you guys know that it's possible to stand up for yourself. And yes, that guy on the last story gave me a bad review and it dropped my rating by a decimal. But you know, it's principle. And you know, if that's how Lyft or Uber wants, you know, to handle their situations, then that's how it's going to be. I gave him a bad review too, and I got him blacklisted to my account. Because why would I ever want to try and give his brother a ride anywhere? You know, if he's going to be that mean or that defensive to somebody that wasn't really trying to be rude. Like, I really had to consider, like Uber and Lyft, they really want to push for hospital trips and like Uber medical, like really just picking up like people for doctor's appointments and stuff like that. And I'm like, you know, that's cool and all, but what if I just want to drive? Like that really made me feel, it made me feel that bad, but it made me question myself, like, man, was I being a dick? But then, you know, I was like, no, I can't beat myself up over that. That wasn't his car. It's my business. You know, it's up to everybody to do their own thing. I have my preferences, and I'm sure he would too if he, you know, had a lot of people in his car all the time, you know, and was almost robbed. And like, there's just, people don't know your story. So you say no whenever you want. Don't be afraid to take a hit. You know, your account might go down. You can dispute it if you want, but like, I believe it takes like 15 good reviews to get your decimal back up with Uber for sure, which really sucks. It kind of does. Like, especially whenever it comes to something that's so controversial. So yeah, I hope this kind of like my stories let you guys know that everything will be okay. You know, like I didn't come out with a scratch on me. If anything, it's more of like a learning experience. And maybe to help you as you start ride sharing, or maybe if you have a friend that's ride sharing and went through something similar and they're worried about their account being shut down because they never had an experience like that before, like share this with them. Like they're not the only one. Also, I created a ride sharing group on Facebook. Maybe they can like that page, or you know, kind of leave a comment down below. Like if you guys have been in situations like this, like say what you would have done in some of the situations I've been, or that I said, or you know, like let's talk about it. I think the more you talk about it, the more you educate yourself on it, and that's, you know, really going to help alleviate a lot of hesitation to start ride sharing. I think a lot of people really don't start trying to be their own boss or trying to side hustle because they're scared of what could happen, and it hasn't happened. You know, like just, you know, you'll be okay. So on that note, when you start ride sharing, or if you know somebody that is wanting to start ride sharing, use my promo code down below. You get a bonus. And, you know, join that Facebook group. I'm going to link it down below as well. And, you know, just be safe. Stand by your guns. You're going to be okay. If anything, you're going to learn from everything you do. So, with that being said, you guys take care. You know, is thinking about ride sharing, or maybe send it to somebody that doesn't know what the heck to do with their time, or they're wondering what other drivers do with their time. Like, you know, just comment below what you guys do during your time if you ride share. I'd actually really like to know that. I'd like to know. Like, what did you do to pass by the time? What made your shifts go by a little bit quicker than usual? You know, with that being said, don't forget to use my promo code that's down in the description. You're helping me out, and also you're helping yourself out because you get that bonus. So with that being said, I hope this helps you guys kind of like get even more like aware of what you could be doing if you were to start ride sharing. You know, and on that note, take care, guys. And I got some more videos on the way. Oh, and don't forget to check out the Facebook page. Join that Rideshare Collective life. You know? Start talking about it. Learn some stuff. Alright, guys.